Maria Keller and I'm a digital artist from Mexico. On this tutorial, I'll teach you how to create your own pizza character in Adobe Illustrator. So just create a new document, the size really doesn't matter. So the first thing I'm going to do is go here to my tools panel and find the ellipse tool. Now I want to create an ellipse that is a circle actually, so I'm just pressing shift while creating it. And you can see that I have no fill, just a simple stroke. And I'm going to create another one that is slightly smaller. So for now, the size really doesn't matter. Just make sure that they are big enough. Now I'm going to go to this properties window, and this is on the latest version of Illustrator CC, but if you're using a previous version, you can find all these settings on the windows here by going window. And for example, here you can find align, which is what I'm going to use right now. So I'm just selecting both, then click again on one. You can see that now the outline looks a little bit thicker. Now I'm going to align horizontally and vertically. And now you can see how they're looking like this. Both of them are on the center. Now I'm going to go to my pen tool by pressing P or going there on the tools panel. And I'm just going to create a straight line by making a point and then pressing shift. Then I'm going to align this line both horizontal and vertically. I'm going to go to my rotate tool and making sure that I'm pressing Alt and Shift. I'm going to rotate it, and then I can rotate it again or just simply press Ctrl D and Ctrl D again to make the last action again. So once I have this, I don't need this smaller circle for now, so I can just cut it so it doesn't get on the middle. So I'm just going to select everything but that circle. And I'm going to go here to my Pathfinder tools. I'm going to open them to find this one that is called divide. Now, at first glance, nothing happened, but you can see that now I have these segments. They're all grouped now, so I just have to go right click and ungroup. And now you can see how I can select each individual piece. I'm going to select one of the pieces on the circle, select them, and then again use the divide. Now I can delete the rest of the slices because I don't need them. And I just have this one. If you double click on the group, you can go inside it. And now I can see that I don't need this part, so I can delete it as well. Now that I have the part that I need, I'm going to go to my rotate tool and just click here on this anchor point. And now I can rotate from that point. Just move it like this so it's a little bit straight. It doesn't have to be perfect because actually this is going to give a better look to our character. So now I have these two pieces, but they are grouped, of course. So I can go right click, ungroup, and now I can select each individual piece. Now I'm going to go here to object and go path, offset path while selecting the top piece. And I'm going to have a little preview here, and I think 15 pixels is fine for me. So now I have this bigger shape, and if you have the latest version again, you could just use the handles to round the corners. And I'm gonna do the same with this bottom corner, so just using my direct selection tool, I'm just rounding that as well. Now it's time to start with the rest of the elements, so I'm just using my pen tool, and you can see how I can make a point, then I drag a little bit to get this handle. I'm just doing a simple line that is of course not straight to simulate the sauce on the pizza. Now I'm going to go to my ellipse tool and I'm going to create a circle. The size again really doesn't matter at all. And I'm just going to go to my direct selection tool and select the bottom anchor point and just move it to the top to make a shape like this. And this is going to be kind of a mushroom, so you can play around with the shape, even move the handles a little bit if you prefer, but for me, like this is fine. Just find a proportion that you are comfortable with. The next thing I want to do is using my pen tool, I'm just going to make a point, make another point and drag to make a line that is slightly curved like this one. Then I'm going to select it, go right click, transform, reflect, making sure that I'm reflecting on the vertical axis and make a copy. I can move it with shift so it stays on the same point. And then using my direct selection tool, I'm going to select the bottom anchor points and go here to anchors and connect selected endpoints. It's going to appear on the top if you are using a different version of Illustrator. So now that I have both of them, I'm ready to finish my mushroom. I can do the same with these top anchor points just so that I don't have any open shapes. And I'm going to go to my ellipse tool. Again, pressing shift to create a circle. This one is 120 by 120, but as I said, you can use your own sizes. It's going to look a little bit different, but it should work the same. Now I'm going to align horizontally and vertically both circles. And this is going to be kind of like a pepperoni. So now here I'm just adjusting a little bit the size and aligning it again. So now I have my two ingredients, and now I'm going to work a little bit on the body of the pizza. So next, I'm gonna go to my pen tool and just press P or select the tool. And I just can make a point and then drag to have a curve. And let's do the same here, but to the other side, so it looks as it's saying hi or waving. And with your direct selection tool, you can select the anchor points and move them a little bit around so you can adjust them. Here on the bottom, I'm just creating a point. While pressing shift, I'm going to create a straight line. Press again, and then again pressing shift, create another straight line, but now horizontal. And I have my feet. And this looks like a feet, but to make it look even better, I can select that anchor point, and then with my bottom arrow key on my keyboard, I can press it 5 times to get something like this. Now I can select this, go right click, arrange, so transform, reflect, and make sure that you make a copy. And now you have both legs. Now I can select both legs, go object, group, and now I can align them to the center of the pizza body. So now we have our body, and the next thing we need to do is create a face. So to create a face, we're gonna first move our ingredients to the side, just for now, so we can see the space that we got for the face. And first I'm going to begin with my eyes. So I'm gonna go to my ellipse tool again and create a circle, just like this. Then with my direct selection tool, I'm going to select the bottom anchor point and press delete. Now I get just the half. And this looks like a smiling eye, but you could go to one of the anchor points and just again with the arrow keys, move it to the right and to the left, probably 5 times as I did here. We could refine it later, but just so that you see the idea of how I'm creating these eyes. Now I'm gonna make a copy by pressing Alt and Shift, group it and align it so that it stays right on the middle of the body. I'm gonna create another circle around 66 pixels, and I'm gonna go to the top anchor point with my direct selection tool and delete it. The next thing I need to do is join these two, so I'm gonna select them and again go to my anchors and unite them. Next, I kind of want to make it different, so I can just press my plus sign on my keyboard or go here to the add point on the tools and just make sure that I create a point there, roughly on the middle. You can see that now if I go with my direct selection tool, I can move it. So I can move it around here to the bottom, and then I can round it so it has a curve like this. Now I can do the same with these two, round them a little bit. And next, I'm going to create a circle by pressing Shift. Now let's align these two shapes. And this is going to be my mouth. Okay, so we're almost there. Now we need to work on our ingredients and the rest of the pizza shape. So I'm going to first add some colors so you can see it. I had already selected these colors in advance, but feel free to pick your own colors if you don't like this. So I'm applying this color to the top part, and now I'm selecting these two shapes, and with my pathfinder I'm dividing them so I get two shapes. And again, remember to ungroup them by going right click, ungroup. And also I just send them to back by going right click, arrange, send to back. Next thing I need to do is change the color of the of this part, which is going to be the cheese, and the sauce part. So that's, I'm gonna pick a red. Alright, so next I'm gonna work on my hands and legs. And I'm gonna change the color to this dark blue. I can increase the stroke width to something around 10 pixels. And clicking here I can get the caps, so I want them to be rounded. I actually think 10 pixels is quite a lot. So maybe first let's go right click, arrange, send to back, and decrease the size or the width actually to 6 points, so that's better. Now I want to work on the mushroom, so just filling the top part with white and the bottom part with a very light gray. So again, right click, arrange, send to back. So they have the correct order. You're gonna see this one because it's white and it's not gonna contrast with the background, but now we can just group this mushroom and let's begin placing it around here. And now let's create with Alt a copy while dragging. I'm just gonna rotate this so that it's around there. Now I can change the color of my mouth. Let's go and select this dark brown color, and for the circle, this pink. Now I want to mask this object inside of the other, so I'm just going to select the circle, go edit, cut, or press Ctrl X, select the shape, then go here to draw inside mode, then go edit, paste in place, or Ctrl Shift P. Now if I double click outside, you can see that now the object has been masked and I am not anymore drawing on the draw inside mode. Now to get my eyes a little bit of a better look, what I'm creating is just a simple ellipse that I'm going to fill with black. I'm going to actually change the shape a little bit so it's kind of flat. And the reason why I did that is because I want to go Window, Brushes, and just simply have to drag and drop it. Make sure that I'm creating an art brush, and then go to my method and select the tints. You can leave the rest as it is and press OK. Now let's go here to our eyes and apply it. You can see how on the ends the ellipse has been stretched and is looking quite better. So this may be too thick. I can move them around first a little bit. I just double click to go inside my group, because remember that I grouped my eyes so I could align them properly. Now I'm changing the stroke width to 1.5, and let's go with the color to that blue that we were using for the arms and legs. Now let's align these once again. Move them out a little bit closer. Just like this. Alright, next thing we're going to do is work on this pepperoni. So I'm going to assign just the right colors. Maybe this kind of magenta color for this part, and for the other I can select this that it's actually lighter. Then I'm going to go to my circle and create smaller circles by pressing Shift. Remember that when you drag, you can create circles. And I can press Alt and Shift to create and copy. This again with Alt to make a copy. And those are smaller. I'm changing the colors instead of pink to a red. And now I can place my pepperoni here. I can select all these, go Edit, Cut, and then Draw Inside mode again. Then go Edit, Paste in Place. And now they are masked inside our triangle that is creating our pizza. I can delete this ellipse because I don't need it anymore. I had already created my brush. Now I'm going to go with my pen tool and I want to create some texture for the cheese. So I'm just moving around, creating some anchor points and creating these irregular shapes because this is going to be the cheese, just as it is changing values on the pizza. So I'm just doing that on the sides and on these little spaces where I have a lot of yellow. I'm doing the same here. Just be careful that you don't touch any of the other shapes. And now here, again, just closing the shape. And now I can select all these and assign the proper color, not black, but a darker yellow. And again, remember that with your direct selection tool, you could adjust the anchor points or the handles to get a maybe more organic shape. Now that I have them roughly where I need them, I can select them all. Again, go Ctrl X, double click on this one because it already has a mask, and just paste it in place with Ctrl Shift B. And now we're almost done, but we need to add a little bit more details. So we're gonna give it a little bit more of detail to the top part, to the crust. So I'm gonna create smaller circles. You're gonna see that I just created a small one, and I could fill it with a color. You can see here different variations. Even the same color could work if you change the mode, but this really depends on you. I like to use other techniques that have a little bit of interaction with the background color. So all I'm doing is just selecting this circle and then go and apply the same color that I was using for the crust. And then just go here into the opacity. You're gonna find it here on the appearance. Click on that one. And then go and change the mode instead of normal to overlay. And you could play around with the opacity, not have it 100 and maybe something lower. For me right now, 100 is working well. So I'm just creating copies by pressing Alt and then making one bigger, one smaller. So I get this little texture. It's really not that much of a texture, but some detail on the shape so it doesn't look that flat. And something that has been kind of bothering me is that this may be looking a little bit too perfect. So one thing that we could do is maybe delete these anchor points. And you can see that if we do that, they are the ones that are preventing us from rounding these corners a lot more. So if we delete those anchor points, because I'm doing it right here, we're gonna lose a little bit our shape, but that's something that we can control. So I'm just undoing, and I'm just going to delete these anchor points that are preventing us from, by going here and remove selected anchor points, just like this, because if you press delete, you're gonna delete the shape, so that's not what you want. Do it with this tool. Now we're with your direct selection tool, and now let's increase the handles, so we get roughly the same shapes, the same shape that we had before. And we don't have those anchor points anymore, like constraining our shape. So now we can go and select the 4 anchor points on the sides and round them. And you're gonna see that we can do it even more than what we had before. So even a little bit more like this. And this looks more like a pizza crust. All right, so finally we're gonna add a little bit of shading. So what I'm gonna do is with my pen tool, I'm creating a point, dragging it a little bit, creating another point, and just close the shape. Really doesn't matter how many points you add. Now let's go and change our opacity mode to, instead of going to normal, let's go to overlay. And let's change the percentage here to 50. Now you're gonna see that here, instead of looking like a shadow, it's looking like a light. So I need to pick a darker color so that it looks like a shadow. So I'm just gonna select this, Ctrl X. Remember that you can just simply cut the shape and go here into the draw inside mode, and then go Ctrl Shift B. Next, I'm gonna go with my pen tool again, and just make a point and close it. And again, I can use my eyedropper to sample the same modes that I was using. Ctrl X, double click on this one because it already has the draw inside mode there. And to the other one, we have to go there into the draw inside mode. Now just a little refinements. Maybe my face can be a little bit lower, and then my legs can be a little bit to the top. So just select them and move them. My arms as well. Maybe they're a little bit to the top, so I can move them down and position them on the right position, closer to the main shape of the body. Now with my ellipse tool, I'm just creating an ellipse to make a little shadow so it doesn't look as if the pizza is floating. So just arrange it and send it to back. And let's change the color to this light gray. Make sure that you will right click, send to back. Now let's make it bigger. And there we go. Now we can group all our character by going to Object Group. And now selecting it and making sure that I'm selecting to the artboard, I can do horizontal and vertical align. One thing that I can do is, as I said, when we were creating them, we can move a little bit the the anchor point so that the pizza looks even more happy. This is completely up to you. Right now I think the eyes are a little bit bigger, so I can separate them a little bit more and just align them properly. So again, double click to go outside my group. And finally, I'm gonna go to my rectangle tool or press M, make a big rectangle, change the fill color to this light or pale color. And then let's just send it back. Actually, now that's okay. And there we have our character. We can make this one a little bit smaller by pressing Shift. And there you go. So I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.